Okay,
All right,
so
you can live.
hey, yeah, I guess I'm live. Hope so. I'm not so sure like how to confirm that though. So if anybody can post a message, on the comment box that they are able to see me, view me, and Shivai, of course, then I think we are good. All right. Hey Shivai, thanks for joining. I think we can get started. And the couple of minutes delay that we had today is all because of the technical glitch. It's the first live, and I was kind of trying to figure out how the entire things work. So that's great. Okay, Shivai, over to you. Just want to kind of get things started.
Sure. And I was just planning like we can just make some live tweets for everyone to get started. I think
Yep.
we can just do that if that's fine, and then
Yes.
we can
Yes.
officially kick it off. Otherwise, like till then we can have people join in for the session.
Sure. Sure.
I'll just make a live tweet, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes for people to join. And I have tweeted. We just got started.
Okay, perfect. Well, so I see that right now we have around 10 people watching, so that's great. I think like it's Saturday night right now, so still it's good to see. But yeah, I mean, Tapas, like from which part of India are you?
Yeah, I'm based out of Bangalore.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can probably start now because it's already 5 minutes past the time. Again, so thank you so much, Tapas, for inviting me over for this podcast. And just to give a very quick introduction about myself, I'm Shwaya, a developer advocate at Uploadcare, and today's entire workshop would be based on Uploadcare. So, just to sort of give a basic introduction about Uploadcare itself, it's basically an Uploadcare is a platform where you can leverage different types of APIs, and of course there are a lot of different type of functionalities that are available for doing an end-to-end practice of not only just being able to actually upload files, but then also being able to actually change the files. For example, being able to edit images or even videos on the fly, and then being served by the Cdn that is provided by Uploadcare. So that also helps you to serve your files much more quicker if you're directly storing them on, like, let's say, S3 bucket. And so of course these end-to-end workflow of being able to actually upload files, manage files, and then of course edit files and then serve these files, all of that is handled via Uploadcare. So we provide that end-to-end functionality. Of course, a lot of our different projects are also open source, so you can leverage the use of our uploader APIs and our uploader itself, which is actually open sourced as well. And that's what we'll be also showing you today in today's demonstration by Tapas. But yeah, I guess like if you want to check out Uploadcare, you can go to uploadcare.com and you can register yourself. You can also check out the GitHub on github.com/uploadcare. And yeah, if you're also interested in contributing, you can contribute to the open source projects as well. But yeah, really looking forward to today's session, Tapas. Over to you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Shiva. That was a good introduction. So I'll start sharing my screen at the same time, trying to introduce myself. So hey, this is Tapas. So I work at Micro Focus as a senior manager, and also a blogger and YouTuber, recent YouTuber. And this is going to be the first live that I'm doing from my channel. And what we're going to do today is basically we are going to develop something using React and the Uploadcare API. You heard about Uploadcare. We are going to see a lot about Uploadcare, going forward as well. But before I get started, I just want to kind of make certain things, say, clear as such. I mean, in a sense, is like what to expect, what not to expect, kind of stuff. So just trying to bring my stuff over here into the main screen. So yeah, this is the one. I hope it's visible completely to everybody. Okay, so before I start, I just want to kind of thank you for whoever joined, and thank you very much for joining. And it's live, so things may not work as expected always. You all know like how things work at demo. It might not work, it might fail. Have your patience, and we'll make it work eventually. And then we'll not write everything, every code live, but make sure I'll explain everything here. Okay, even if I don't write everything. All right. So that's the expectation that I want to set. Now let's see like what exactly we are building today. we are going to build something like this. The that picture that you are going to see is like a look like a photo gallery that you kind of choose a file, choose a photo from here, and then upload over here, and then you will be able to perform some operations like you'll be able to edit a photo. We'll see a lot of image processing stuff, including the face detection and all the stuff, like how we can do with Uploadcare API and the React application. And then we'll be able to do some kind of operations like you will be able to delete photos, and so we interact with different APIs and things like that. All right. So the marker that you see at the right side, it is about, to influence you or to trigger you to think in React. So when you say think in React, we generally think about the components. And if you are already kind of watching the React series that I have started, we have been talking about a lot of components. We have been talking about the component interactions and a lot of stuff, right? So it means that if this is the demo that we are going to build in React, we'll be talking about different components, right? And these are the components that we are going to build. These are the components that we are going to create. So it means I have a component called uploadcare.jsx, which is nothing but a simple React component that we'll see. In that component, there are two subsections. One section is like where we are using a widget from Uploadcare, a React widget from Uploadcare. We'll see like how to use that widget. And then once we upload the images into Uploadcare, when I retrieve those images and list it out, I see these things in another component called listfiles.jsx. Inside the list files, I have each of this card, and each of this card is in the image card.jsx. So basically, three main components that we'll be dealing with, we'll be talking today. And while doing that, we'll also see like how Uploadcare stuff, how Uploadcare API is kind of coming to picture. Now, a quick version of why I'm doing this, basically, this particular live is see, in React, if you're kind of just a beginner, you probably getting started with a concept of states, you're getting started with a concept of side effects and things like that. And making an API call and getting your operation done, like listing something, editing something, deleting something, uploading, adding, are kind of real life use cases, right? Though I have been teaching a lot of stuff in my React series, but when it comes to do certain hands-on and building certain application, it's a different kind of ballgame. So I could have done something with some kind of fake API and things like that, but I thought, okay, let's do something real life, so that we can actually involve ourselves and start learning from that. So that is where I thought Uploadcare API is a perfect choice, where I should be able to show something more intuitive. Images and things like that are more intuitive things to do. So in this API, we'll be majorly talking about three different kind of APIs. One is like that Widget API, the widget that you can see over here. With that, we'll be talking about how to upload an image, how to validate an image, then the image drag and drop, tabs, preview, things like that. Then the regular REST APIs to kind of deal with the files, like how do you list files, how do you copy, store, delete info batching, and then the image processing. For example, if you're on Insta, like you always filter your photo, I'm sure. So how can you like filter your photo? How can you crop your photo? How do you blur? How do you do sharp face recognition, face detection, object recognition, and all those stuff that you can do. Due to time limit, we won't be able to cover each and everything, but we'll give you some kind of highlights so that you understand it. And the application that are built while doing the demonstration, it will be made open source so that you can fork it and you can play with it, you can enhance it, whatever it is. And if there are any follow-up questions, I'm ready to take in Twitter. So please DM me. All right. So with all that explanation that we have now, it's time to get into action. So let's do that. Okay. So let me close this out and want to bring my web page to talk a bit about Uploadcare interface, because we need to set up few things before we start coding. So this is Uploadcare interface, and if you have not logged in, you can log in. And once I log in, I will be able to kind of get into the dashboard. And in the dashboard, I will be able to view certain things that is required for my applications to build. Okay, so I've clicked on dashboard. Momentarily, I land up into the dashboard because I have already logged in. So this is the interface where you can manage a lot of stuff as an admin. You can manage a lot of stuff in the sense file, images, and everything that you can manage as an admin. So there is something called files. And inside these files, once you do the upload, basically all the files will come here and it will be listed over here. You should be able to perform different kind of operations on those files. We'll be doing all these things from our React app, not from the Uploadcare interfaces. So we are not getting much into that. But there are two things that we need to do if you're building an application with Uploadcare. The thing is like you have to get your API keys. Once you go to API keys, there are two types of key that will be available. One is called public key, another is called secret key. So you need to copy those two keys, public key and secret key, and keep it in somewhere, so that we can actually start using in our project. So I have done that already. So I'm not showing that particular process again. And then the next thing, the last thing, that is the documentation. Uploadcare has got superb documentation, so that there is no hassle in terms of following things that we'll be doing today. We'll be kind of going through some of the documentation and see like how the things get reflected into our project as well. Okay, so this is good. Now with this, all this explanation, I think it's time that we dive into code and start doing this integration together. So the code, I have my Visual Studio Code over here. And what I'm using is like I bootstrapped this application using Create React App. I think that's the famous one that we can get started with things quite easily. So I have this app ready with Create React App, and I have few basic skeleton already coded. So for example, the component that I have spoken about, like uploadcare.jsx, image card.jsx, all these skeleton components are coded so that I don't spend much time in terms of coding the React component, because that's something very basic. But I'll be focusing on certain core part where I'll be doing this integration with the Uploadcare API, and will show that gradually how the things are kind of coming up. Okay, so that's what the next thing. As it's Create React App, I mean, if you're familiar with it, there is always an entry point called index.js. And in the index.js, there is something called an app component. And in the app component, I have used Uploadcare. That's the skeleton API that I have spoken about just now. If any of you kind of find this font is a bit small, I can just increase it a bit, but I think this should be okay. All right. So I am running this one locally with the yarn start command, and that run this API locally on 3000 port. And I guess I am running it somewhere, and I'm just going to pull it over here straight away. So localhost 3000. Let's pull this. So while this is coming up, yeah, I'm just saying like everything is fine. Okay, so the app right now looks like this. It's like very bare metal. There is really nothing much over here. So we have one panel called please upload an image, and there is something like so empty over here. So if you kind of compare the image that I have showed, this entire component is uploadcare.jsx. Inside that there is one placeholder where I'll be using the Uploadcare widget uploader component to upload the widget, and here those image cards will start appearing once I start coding. Okay, so we'll go back to the uploadcare.jsx file. I'll open it up. So let's see like what exactly there in this particular JSX file. Okay, so this is the JSX file. There are a bunch of some amount of code. Let's focus over here. So this part is, if you are aware of React, this part is called JSX. It's like this is the part which is responsible for rendering of your web pages, the rendering part of it. So here, what we see is like there is a placeholder which says, please upload an image. That's what exactly we see over here. Please upload an image. Nothing but a p tag, nothing more than that. Straightforward. And then there is a component called list files, which actually showing this particular message. So empty here, please upload. Really nothing beyond that, right? So what we'll be doing now, first thing we'll be doing is like we'll get the widget, Uploadcare widget over here, and start uploading some images and see like how those images are getting uploaded into Uploadcare server, and we'll kind of proceed from there. So to do that, what we'll be doing, like I'll be bringing certain code over here. So the first code that I'm going to bring over here is the widget code. Okay, so the widget code is from this particular library. So I have already installed Uploadcare/React widget. So the file uploader widget is available in different versions in different languages. There is a JavaScript version, like there is a React version. You can use it with jQuery. As our project today is with React, so I am using the React-based library, which is like an Uploadcare/React-widget. You can do yarn add or npm install this particular stuff, and then it's get installed. And then you import the widget component from this library like this. And once you're done your importing, the next thing that you can do is use this, as simple as that. So let me explain like what exactly I did. So I have imported the widget component. and after we put in the widget component, I am actually using this widget component, right? And while using this widget component, it requires certain keys. Now, some certain attributes. Some attributes are mandatory, some attributes are optional. The mandatory attribute is something called public key. You remember, when I told that you configured the Uploadcare dashboard, you have to first generate your public key and secret key. So this is the public key you will be using over here. Now, if you're familiar with the concept of environment variable, you generally don't, expose your public key and secret key to people. So you keep it in a .env file, and then you can access it secretly in your code, because your code is public, not the keys are public. So that is what I am doing. I am accessing this from my env file, and my env file, for this particular key, there is a public key already I have specified. Okay, great. Then it's need ID, and then bunch of optional attributes that is required. So with this much, if I save, and this is the first code that we have done here, and I'm expecting that at least that part of the code will start working. So let's go ahead and head over and start seeing, what exactly happening over here. So we'll also open up with F12 the command prompt. So in case there is certain console error or things like that, we'll be able to kind of manage it. So what we see here, now I got the choose a file widget. This was not there. As I've added the widget, it started appearing. Once I click on this, the widget gives you this UI. So none of this that we code. Okay. So the UI is there to upload the widget and upload from various different sources. One of the sources is, of course, your local file. And apart from that, you can actually do it from your live camera or Facebook or Insta or various different sources like Google Drive and things like that. So first thing first we'll do is like I'll select a file. So choose a local file, and then I'll get into a folder. And after getting into the folder, I'll be selecting a file, and then I'll try uploading a file. My machine is a bit slow, I guess, because of this stream and all. So just be patient. So let me go ahead and start uploading one of my photos. So once you do that, you're seeing that there's an uploading marker that is kind of going on. Ignore the things that are there in the console.log for now. I'll be getting into that. But now it says that upload an image of face.jpg is done. Okay, but we are not seeing it because we have not coded for it. But if I go to my Uploadcare server and I just refresh it here, as it was blank now, what I expect to see, the file that I've uploaded just now, I should be able to see under the files tab, over here. So this is what I've uploaded, and it is over here. And now if you wonder how this integration happened, that integration happened through that widget and that key that I have provided. That is why they are kind of linked together. So this guy is over here. Now the best part about this dashboard is like it helps you with certain API and context already. So for example, it gives you certain links like what is the link of it on the Uploadcare server, the more optimized link, if you want to resize this one, like different kind of image processing options already is talk about that we will see eventually. Okay, now our next part of code that we want to kind of focus on is like I want to kind of put all the images that I'm uploading right now. I want them to appear here because this is what we have agreed upon, and I showed that particular image in the beginning. So let's get back to code, and we'll be kind of bringing those things one by one over here. But before that, I want to talk about little bit about this widget, because this is also related to like what is this particular widget is capable of. As you're seeing that there are two event handlers already I'm handling it here. So one is like on change. That means whenever the file changes when you're uploading, the file changes, you can do something, you can take that event and do something. And whenever you are selecting a file, then also you can do something. So for these two event handler, I am actually calling these two functions. So basically on change, upload file change function will be called. On file select, upload file select function will be called. These are the functions that I will write because I want to do something. What I am doing, not much. In one function, I'm just doing a console.log. And another function, that is why I want to kind of focus a little bit that I am doing something special, is like I am printing the progress, the upload progress. Yeah. So I'm printing the how much progress that I can get, because this info object I get, and on this info object I can actually get query a lot of data on the file data. So one of the data is progress. And once the file upload is done, so if you see that file got done on this callback, what I do is like I do some kind of state management. Why I'm doing the state management will come in a while. But for now, I am doing an upload, and because of that upload, there are two types of events that I'm handling over here. And this is the reason, because of this console.log, when you go to this API, you're seeing this progress, right? So file progress, file done, and then you are seeing basically this one about the all file metadata. Okay, so a file upload happened and the metadata is there. Now, as the metadata is with me, so it means I can extract the information from this metadata, pass it to some other component and start printing them, right? So that is the next work that I'm going to do. Okay, so let's go and focus on this one. One more thing that if you're interested in, just want to kind of call out, you can do a lot of validations, right, at this point of time. So this particular upload widget also provides a way for you to validate your file. For example, you want to only allow, say, images to be uploaded, or you don't want like more than 3 MB file size to be uploaded. So all that sort of validations that you should be able to do here itself, along with this particular widget. So for example, if I want to do a validation of this, for me the option is pretty easy. What I'll be doing, I'll be adding another attribute called validator, something like this over here. And in these validators, what I'll be doing is basically I'll be passing all the functions that will take care of all the validations, right? So for example, I can do something like this. So I have passed something called validators, and over here I can do something like validators equal to file size limit, and in this file size limit I can actually check what is the basically size of the file, and then I can shout for it, hey, you are actually uploading something more than 3 MB or whatever the size, right? Now if you need to validate another validation, with another validation you can do a comma separated another function. In that probably you want to check the file name validations or whatever, type validations and things like that. So this validation is another thing that come in handy, and like that there are plenty of things that you can do with this widget. You can do all sort of things. So I hope the widget part is kind of quite clear. The next thing that we are going to do is, like, I have uploaded a file, now I want to list it, and I want to see that listing is working perfectly. So okay, so let's go over there and try to see like how it works. So the listing part that we'll be doing in this list files component. Okay, so list file components right now, what it renders, let's see, it renders just this one. So empty here, please upload. I have uploaded, but still it is showing this because I have not coded, right? Now what is expected over here? The expectation is very straightforward. I have uploaded something to the Uploadcare server. Now I have to fetch that information, pull it and show it over here. I have to fetch that information. So to fetch, we'll be using JavaScript fetch, right? And if you are familiar with React already, all these operations like this network calls, the API calls, things like that, we call it as side effects. And all the side effects in React gets managed where? In the use effect hook, right? So let's get over to our list files.jsx, and in the list file.jsx, go to use effect that I have coded, an empty use effect. In this use effect, what we are going to do, use effect is the place where we do all the side effect like API calls and things like that, get that data and push the data into this component's JSX somehow, so that the JSX can make use of that and render that part, right? So in the use effect, we are going to make our REST API call to Uploadcare and trying to fetch, and we'll try to fetch the list of files over there. Now, for making REST API calls, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. All the REST API calls will have something called a unique resource identifier, like our URI. So it means there will be a URI which will be given to you by the provider, and there will be certain norms, certain guidance that you have to go by. For example, I don't want you to access my files. You need to authorize to Uploadcare server first before you access my files, right? So for that, you have to tell who you are. And my authorization in this case is again a combination of public key and the secret key. So I have to pass this public key and secret key as an authorization header while making the fetch call using the REST API to Uploadcare server. And then I'll get the response. And that response I am going to use to list this one. So for that purpose, this is the URI. So if we go to REST API documentation, we'll be seeing the documentation together towards the end. I'm not just doing too much of back and forth. So in this URI, if you see this one, it says that api.uploadcare.com/files. This gives you a list of all the files. And this is where I am actually doing my header stuff. In the header, what I am doing basically, I am actually composing the header, the authorization header, the same way that Uploadcare's documentation suggests me to do. It says that do like uploadcare.simple, then give a space, public key, and then there will be a secret key. Yeah, colon, there is a secret key. Again, this public key, secret key are coming from the environment variables. So this is perfect. Now, only thing that I need to fill up over here is the fetch function that will actually make this call to this URI and going to fetch something. So let's understand the code that I've just now added. So what exactly it is going to do? The fetch JavaScript API, fetch API is actually, it takes the URI as a first argument. Then you can pass the comma separated options. One of the options, of course, is the headers. So the headers I have already computed and I'm passing over there. And it return a promise as a response that I actually get over here. From the response, I need to get either a text or a JSON. I am getting a JSON, which again return a promise, and that I'm getting as a data. Okay. Now, when I make this call, this API slash files, it gives me a bunch of information, lot of information about, lot of contextual information. And one of the contextual information that I'm looking for in that response JSON is the results. So I'm extracting data.results and I'm setting into my state variable for this particular component. Okay, as simple as that. And there are few regular things like, whether the loading is over or not, so that my UI doesn't look really crappy when this call is getting made. I have taken care of all this thing. Now here, one thing probably you would have noticed, I am passing something in the square brackets. So what is square brackets for? For use effect. The square brackets actually indicate the dependencies based on which you should be running the side effect. So side effect is making the API call. And so what I'm saying is over here is like, whenever this update list, this particular variable's value gets changed, then only you go ahead and run this API call and get the fresh result from the Uploadcare server. Now, where is this coming from? This is coming as a props to this particular component. Okay. And this component is being used here, and this props I am passing. What is this props? This is nothing but a state variable that I maintain at the parent component, which I am changing only when I am actually uploading a new file. So whenever I upload a new file, whenever the new file upload is done, I am making this particular variable as true, so that this particular variable gets changed, this props gets changed. So this gets changed over here. So it means this will be changed. So I will be fetching the fresh result from there. So till this point of time, this is our second code changes. We have saved this code changes, and we want to see like whether things are going to get rendered or not. So let's move over. Okay, as usual, there is certain things. Show size alert is not defined. Okay, so it's because of the validation code half-heartedly we have added. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this validation code because we are not demonstrating that. However, the code base that I'm going to share as an open source project, you should be able to see all these validations that are all happening over there. So let's go ahead, head over here. And what I'm seeing here, so there is a face.jpeg, which I have uploaded some time back. I started seeing that it's getting listed. That's great. This is what we wanted. And now I'm going to go to the network tab just to see like, the files call has been made or not. Okay, great. The files call has been made. So this is the files call that we have made. And what we are seeing over here, if we go this option call, yeah. So this is the response. In that response, this is the results. And that is the result that I'm actually retrieving. Now let's go ahead and upload another file so that I can see that, in live, it is kind of getting added over here. So go ahead, choose a new file. We can do it from Insta also, but okay. So let's do this guy. Okay. So this is actually uploading over here. And if I go to the console, I'll be able to see this kind of things are getting processed and things like that. Once the upload has been done, it's making that files call again, because that's how I have coded, and it is getting appeared. So our first step towards our gallery is done, right? We have a gallery now, but we have lots to do. So the next thing that we want to focus on is to understand this particular component a little bit, and then two actions that I'm going to talk about. One is deleting an image, and then the image processing. That's a lot of cool things, right? So that will be coming now. All right, so let's go back to this code and try to understand what is happening over here. So in the list files.jsx, now I have this data inside this files, and the files is a state variable which is initialized an array. So I'm saying that it is supposed to have an array because the API returns me an array, and whenever the array is available, the files actually state variable is having an array. So in my JSX, I am just reiterating through. The map function over here is to iterate over array. I'm just iterating through, and for each of the file, I am actually taking advantage of the image card component and rendering the image. Yeah, that's it simple. So let's look into the image card component. The image card component is having a header, a bunch of div, and it is simply showing this image. So if you just go to the UI, it is having a header with a kind of name, and then these two icons, and then the image and some styling. Okay, so if I go here, this is the header, this is the name, these two icons, and then I have the image. So we understand how this particular code works. But hey, how about those icons and what are they going to do? So those two icons, one is like edit, another is called delete. Okay, so on the delete icon, click, we are going to delete the file. On the edit icon click, we are going to edit the file. Basically edit the image. Okay, so we'll first see the delete operation. So for deleting a file, what we need, what exactly now the delete call supposed to be. Now in the Uploadcare REST API documentation, if we see, we will see that the URL for deleting a file is almost same as retrieving the file list with one added thing. At the end of the URL, you also have to pass the UUID of the file or the image in this case, so that it can identify the image and it can actually delete that file. So let's perform delete file operation. So I have a, I think I'm calling this delete file, and I have a delete file, probably empty function. Yeah, over here. So let me add the delete file code and then try to explain to you. I'm sure that this will be much straightforward to you now after understanding the use effect part. So let me just pull that code over from delete file to over here, and then we will go over and start understanding the code. All right. So delete file function will get called when I click on the trash icon, because I have added the handler, and I'm passing this file ID. And taking this file ID, I am making another REST API call on Uploadcare server. This is the URI to identify a particular resource in the Uploadcare server. In our case, we are identifying a particular image based on its UUID. So this is the UUID, this is the file ID. With that, I am constructing this particular URI. And as I'm using the fetch method again, JavaScript fetch method again, along with your header option, you also have to tell what is the method you want to perform, what is the action you want to perform using the fetch. I'm going to perform delete. So my method is delete, and my headers is as exactly same we have used for fetching the data. And with that, we are making the fetch call, passing the URI and options, getting the response. The delete call gives back the response as all the details of the deleted file. So in this case, we'll be getting the response of the file that we'll be deleting, and in that response, I'll also have the ID of the file that I have just now deleted. So next thing, what I am doing, I am identifying, basically filtering out that particular file from my file list and setting it as a state variable again. The moment I set the things as a state variable, what happened? The re-rendering happened, right? That's what the update state call happens. Whenever state is updating, the re-rendering will happen. So the JSX will re-render again, and this time I have already removed the deleted file from this files array based on the ID. I filtered it out. So now it will have one less file every time I delete one file, right? So I'll save this one, and we go back to the UI and delete a file. And what will happen is basically it will make a call, REST call. It will delete the file on the server, come back the response with the deleted ID. In my UI, I have the data structure which is having the array of files. I'll identify, hey, which one I have deleted. Let's knock that out. Set the state. Once I set the state, the component re-renders. Component re-renders means it has the updated file information now. So I'll get the updated UI as well. So let's go ahead and start seeing this thing. All right. So over here, which one to delete? I love both. Okay, so let's delete this one. Yeah, I call this one, hoping that it will delete. Maybe it is not refreshed. Okay, so let's refresh this guy. Okay, now let's delete. Okay, so some problem that I am facing in deletion. Ideally, it should work. Okay, so let's see like what problem we have done in the deletion. So I am passing this file.uuid, and here in the delete file, I'm going over here and I have this UID. I'm making this fetch call. And then, yeah, code-wise, it looks exactly good to me. When I'm verifying that, I think it looks good. Let's see my console, if anything is there. No, somehow the delete is not reflecting. Let me refresh. Okay. Okay, let me check in the Uploadcare server whether the files got deleted or not. Maybe the delete call is not being made correctly. Okay. Okay, both the files are there. So the delete didn't happen. So we'll get back to the delete one. Like, we'll try to figure out like why this delete call didn't happen. Maybe something that I missed over here. Doesn't look like anything I have missed. Delete file. I'm passing the delete file. Here the delete file is coming. The file.uid I'm taking. Yeah, looks like it is good, but I don't know why it is not happening. Okay, so let's focus on this edit part, and then we'll come back to the delete if we have time. Towards the end. So the next thing that we want to kind of talk about is the edit part. So in the edit part, what we want to do, we want to basically put this image, the image that we are having right now. We want to kind of bring this image into a model. And then after bringing the image into a model, what we want to do is like we want to do certain kind of processing of that image, right? So this is what we want to target. Okay, so let's do one thing. For that, we'll be uploading one more image from the local file first. Okay. Let's do this guy, this card. So open this. The upload has been started, and you should be able to see this one image got added over here. It will start rendering over here. Okay, so we'll play with these three images now. So the thing that we want to do is like on the edit file, first thing first, we want to kind of write the edit stuff and see like whether it is working or it is ditching us like what the delete one did. So on the edit one, on click of it, we are calling this edit file function. And the edit file function, I guess I have a skeleton. Yes, I have a skeleton over here. And in this skeleton, what we are going to do is like we are going to write this one. So what exactly we are planning to do over here? So there are a few things that are happening. Okay. One thing is in the edit file, whenever I'm clicking on this edit icon, first what I'm doing is like I am actually setting that file information into a state variable because I want to utilize that file information into a modal dialog where I'll be doing a lot of processing of that. Now, one thing is like whenever I am actually clicking on individual files, I am not bothered about the list of files anymore. I'm just bothered about that particular file because I want to perform bunch of operations on that file. Okay, so in this case, whenever I'm clicking on a particular file, I'm passing that file information over here, this image information. I'm getting it over here, and what I'm doing is basically I'm actually going to print it. So before I do anything, I just want to make sure that this click handler works and things are getting printed into the console, so that after that I can actually proceed further. So let's go to this, and it takes a little bit of time for me to kind of refresh this UI. Yes. What I'm noticing is like that unstart thing is not refreshing as and when I'm making changes. Okay, so it happens. So whenever I'm clicking on this edit, you see that the file information I'm putting into the log, it is happening. So this edit part at least started responding. Then the next thing is like whatever the file, the information that I am actually clicking on, that I am putting into a state variable because I'm going to use it in a model. I'm going to actually bootstrap a model. What exactly bootstrapping a model means? I'm going to show a model. That is where I am actually calling a function called handle show. The handle show is nothing but handle show and handle close are nothing but a kind of toggle where it is going to turn on and turn off a state variable, like show a model, hide a model, show a model, hide a model. So if this handle show becomes set show become true, that means there is a state variable called show that is defined at the top. That becomes true. Based on that, I'm going to show the model. Otherwise, I'm going to hide the model. That's the thing that I'm going to do. Now, where is the model? Let's bring the model so that we get to see the things end to end. So the model that I'm using is from a library called React Bootstrap. Now you can use any library of your choice, or you can create a model. It's simple also. You can create a model of yourself. And this is the model that I'm creating. We'll be explaining the code. But before that, I want to show that this model is coming from React Bootstrap model. You can use any other libraries of your choice. This is a kind of simple model. What it does, it has a header. This is a model.header. We see over here. And then what it says that, show this model when this show state is true. Okay. Hide this model when we click on this handle close. And then it has a title, it has a body, and then it has a footer. In the footer there is a close, and there is a save button. If you put focus on the body, what we are doing in the body, we are actually calling another React component. We are actually importing another React component called process image, and passing this particular as a props, this file to process. Now this file to process we are setting on the edit, and then I am passing it to this model. So look at the connection. The connection means whenever I am clicking on the edit icon, I am selecting this is the file to edit, putting into a state variable. This state variable I am passing to my model as a props, so that I can do all my processing, image processing, into this process.image component, which is the part of model body. That's the tying up code. Okay. So let's go ahead and see whether things works as expected or not. We'll wait for a while because the updation is taking some amount of time. So I have this model. Now I'm going to close this guy a little bit. Yeah. So I have a model, the entire image with a close and the save button. This is what I did basically. I'm getting this image and having a close and save. Now you're saying that how are you getting this image? Okay, so I'm getting this image in this way. Basically, I am having this process image. Here I'm passing this file information. And if I go to the process image.jsx file, I am getting this file information over here, extracting the exact image over here, and I'm putting it over here. Just a simple image tag. But if you notice over here, this is important. I am not directly putting the file path over here. Rather, I have created a state variable, and in the state variable, I am managing the file path. Okay, and the file path is, this is the URL that I am using. Now, when I have showed the Uploadcare in the beginning, after uploading the file, if you have seen on the Uploadcare, after uploading the file, once you select a file, you have a Cdn URL that is provided by Uploadcare server, so that you don't have to hit the original server. Always these things are cached and it is there in the Cdn. So any image processing, any image editing that you do on the one that is in the Cdn than on the original server, because things are going to be faster, right? That's the purpose. For that purpose, now I am using the Cdn URL so that I can actually get that particular image much faster and can apply a lot of editing part on top of that. Okay. Now to construct the Cdn URL, only thing that you need is the UI ID of that particular file. Okay. After that, you can construct this Cdn URL. So if I go back over here from this file, I extract that UUID, construct that Cdn URL, and then this Cdn URL I am actually passing as an initial value to my image SRC stage. Why I am doing this? Because now I am going to do some image processing. That means I am going to change the value of this image SRC using this set image SRC, so that this particular image automatically gets re-rendered, automatically gets changed, right? So want to see that? Let's get into some kind of image processing right away. So the first image processing that we are going to see, which one we'll see? I'll see first, we will see corping of image. Okay. So let me go ahead and put bunch of code over here, and then let me explain the code. We'll close this one so that you can have a better view. So what I did basically, what is the construct for doing certain image processing? If we go to the image processing API documentation, we'll see, before we end the call, we'll see certain documentation also. So there, what we see is like your base URL, the URL, whatever you have. On top of that, whenever you want to perform any operation, for example, we are interested in corping, we'll be doing an image corping. So what you do basically, provide a // and then start performing tell that what operation you want to perform. Like I want to do corp, and then what kind of corping you want to do. You want to corp by face, by ratio, or you want to corp it at the center, or you want to do some kind of smart corping, right? You want Uploadcare to do the smart corping for you. So there are various different kind of corping mechanism are there. So this is how we will be able to do. So what we are doing over here, we are having bunch of buttons. whenever someone click on the button, I am changing this URL, right? I'm changing the CDN URL by appending the operation that I'm interested in performing and setting it to the image SRC variable, state variable. So state variable will change, component will re-render. That means my this image now will have the one that I am looking for, the one that I'm clicking on. Okay, so let's see that in action. I have just saved it with a great hope that this will work. So let's go ahead. I will do a hard refresh because somehow create React app is not working properly. So I got this button. So let's do the copying one by one. Okay, so you want to see first thing that you want to do, maybe copying the face. So if I click on for face, what happened basically? See here, the face copying happened. I have not done anything. What I have just done, I have taken the CDN URL, append the corp function to it with the construct that Uploadcare want us to do, specified what kind of corping I want, the face corping, and it is done the corping for me. If I want to go to set to original, I can do that. Then I can do actually some kind of smart corping. I'm leaving the corping to them. See, it is copying actually beautifully. The entire thing is got beautifully. So you can actually take this image or save this image back and utilize it, right? You want to copy it as a ratio, you can do, all these things that you can do with corping. So corping is one of the option. Let's go to the next operation that we want to see, next image filtering image processing operation. I'm sure that this one all of us like. People who are on Instagram, they like to put a lot of filters and things like that. So let's do some filtering. So for that, again, what I'll be doing, I'll be adding that bunch of buttons over here. No rocket science as such. So over here, I have this div, this particular div. After this div, I'm going to add bunch of filter operations. Okay, as I mentioned before, like your base URL, then the operation, and then what kind of thing you want to do. So in this case, my operation is filter. So I'll put filter, and there are a bunch of filters out of the filters available. Once you go to the documentation of Uploadcare, you will see a bunch of filters. There are many filters already available for you to kind of pick and select and kind of apply. So I have these filters where the image is kind of going to change dynamically whenever I'm going to apply this filter. So let's go ahead. My filters have come over here. The buttons have come over here. So let's apply this particular filter. Let's click on this one. See here. You see that image got changed. The filter got changed. Let's add Pamaya. I don't know what exactly Pamaya, but yeah, of course, it got changed. So filtering is getting applied. So like this, there are a bunch of operations that you can actually do. And this is really, really fun to play with your images and do something really, really creative of, based on what you are actually looking for. So the next bunch of operation, if you want to see, is a rotating. So for example, you want to flip an image, you want to mirror an image, and let us add a few more so that we can actually see these things together. So the next thing that we want to actually do along with that is blur and sharpening your image. So for rotating, again, my action is rotate, and I want to rotate by 90 degree. My action is rotate, I want to rotate by 180 degree. Similarly, I want to flip it, I want to mirror it, and all these things that I just kind of keep appending to the URL, and it takes care of it. Similarly, for blurring, I want to blur on the face. So blur region is face. I want to sharp the image, 10x, then sharp the image 20. So that's all that I'm going to do. So let's come back to our application and see that rotate and things got added. So let me just mirror this image. So mirror means if you stand in front of mirror, right become left, left become right. So just mirror this image, click on this. See here, the image got mirrored, correct? Now the image that you can do rotate by 90 degree, I clicked on it, you rotated this 90 degree, you rotate it by 180 degree, you will be rotating 180 degree. Yeah, I can actually take the liberty to do all this thing with my images. So this is what it happens. Now the next thing is like, let's do some sharpening. So if you see this image is having a little bit of hazy. Like once I kind of make it, stretch it bigger. Now if I click on the sharp 20, it is going to get some sharpness. You see that? This is much sharp than the original one. If I want to blur the face, it is going to recognize the face automatically and it is blurring the face. You can actually control the density of this blurriness, complete blur or partially blur and all these things. This is very, very cool thing that going to you can actually achieve in the image processing, right, in a React app. And then the next thing that what we're going to do is like we're going to do some kind of detection, like image detection, like face detection. Let's detect the face in this particular image and see like how the things works. So for that, the API that we'll be calling is this one. Okay, so maybe we will just demonstrate this much detecting the face for now because of the time also. So what exactly detecting of face doing? So we have to now say that I have an image, and whenever I'm clicking on this button, say detect face, I have to make a call, an API call. If you see, this is unlike all other calls that I have made now. I had a Cdn URL. On that, I was just doing the processing, bunch of processing, operation, and things like that. It was working. But in this case, I am not modifying this image directly. I am not modifying the image on the Cdn directly. So it means that there is something else that I need to do, some other computations that I need to perform or input I need to give to Uploadcare APIs so that the image detection happens correctly, right? So let's understand this code, like how it happens. So what I'm doing here, on clicking on this detect face button, so let's go over here. Let's come to original. On click on this detect face button, I am expecting the face detection happens and there is some kind of marker that comes over here. So let's do that. I do a detect face and I see the face has got detected clearly. The green thing like Hulk, on my face is because of the image detection thing that we have done. Now let's see in the code like how we have done this image detection. Okay, so if I go back to code, when I'm clicking on this button, I am actually toggling one state variable. I am saying set the show mask as true. So if I see at the top, just top of my image, I have if the show mask is true, show the face mask. The green one is the face mask. Show the face mask. On what? What is the face mask? For that, I have to identify the image on which I want to show the face mask. So I am passing that particular image file's ID. So the ID, the current ID that I am passing. Now let's go back to the face mask component and see what is there in the face mask. So I get this UID as a props, and here I am making this particular REST API call. The REST API call is again, the Cdn ID / detect faces. Okay. Once I make this detect faces call, it returns me certain data. Based on that data, I can actually plot that mask that I have plotted. Okay, so to understand this one, to understand this data, let's go over here. What kind of data that it kind of gives me. So I made this call already. So I'll go to the network tab, and here I see this detect, and this is the detect call. Apart from all these details, you see something called faces. So this gives me an array because there is only one image. If there are multiple image, then multiple such entries will be available. Okay. So as one image, for this particular image, the values are some 354, 164, 361, 501. This is nothing bad. This is XY starting position 354, 164, and from there the width and the height, the area basically that I need to cover, that is 361 and 501. So I take that particular value, the data over here, and what I do basically, I just do a left top width height, as simple as that. This is very simple thing. And I have a style called dot mask, which is giving me that green background and things like that with some opacity. So that's pretty much it, what you do. So like that, by the way, that is the end of the demo. That is the end of the integration that we have done. But before we end, I just want to kind of take you through certain awesome things that you can actually try out on top of this, which I could not show in this demo. So for example, you can always go and click on this image processing documentation, and here you can do object recognition. For example, right, you have a photo and you make a call, object recognition call, like, recognize info. Then you get back things like, what are the objects are there and what are the kind of probability of them being that object, like building, house, percentage, so all this thing that you can actually print in your application. That is super cool. So go ahead and take this open source project and do that. And then there are a bunch of other things that you can do, how to color, adjustment, compression, quality, high quality, low photos, and all these things that you can do. And then on the REST API side, on the APIs, you can actually go to the REST API documentation. On the REST API documentation side, there are a bunch of things that we have already showed. We have seen the list of files. We have seen delete. Unfortunately, it didn't work somehow. Then we have everything that you get into this documentation. So if you're starting with a project that I have, in my GitHub, I'll be sharing in a while. You have bunch of things already there. You just need to want to kind of extend it. Just go ahead and extend. So you can do like, getting file for deleting, copying, batching, all sort of things that you can actually do using the REST APIs. So I hope that, I could summarize somehow, like how you can deal with APIs and do a lot of stuff using you in your React project, just going by the learning of how to manage the states, how to take care of the side effects like using use effects, things like that, how to pass the props from the parent to child, how to map on the arrays, how to format your JSX so that you actually making your component responsible to show only what is required, and at the same time how to interact with a live API system, not a fake one, and do something really really interesting. So I hope you like that. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to the StreamYard and going to see whether is there any question that I can actually answer in next few minutes. Is there anything that is there anything that you want to kind of type in, anything that you want to know? uh, yeah, by the way, yes, that GitHub project will be available. I'll make available, and I think this is also will be recorded. So the GitHub project, please, if you are interested further, you can fork it and start doing a lot of other enhancements on the code that we have seen so far. And I'm sure that you will have fun. Okay, any questions, or Shivai, anything that you want to kind of add? I'm kind of done from my side.
Yeah, I think this is really great demonstration. Nothing very specific to add, as like you mentioned, like Tapas will be sharing the code for this particular repository. But yes, the ultimate aim was to showcase how easily you can sort of manage files and using the REST APIs or with the help of the file uploader APIs. And of course, that's not just at. Of course, today's focus was building like an image gallery with React. You can also build it with other frameworks. You can also
Yes.
put out Symbite.js, which is basically a like completely new framework that we are creating, which will be sort of serving. If you're really into web components, you can also give it a look as well.
Yep. Cool. So is there any particular question that I need to take before we end the stream, or we are good?
Okay, so I think there is a question by Thevu.
Okay. So hey Theo, I think your question is like the corp, the cropping and all this thing are coming from Uploadcare. Yes, yes, definitely. So what we are doing basically, we are getting the CDN URL of the image. So that means the image is accessible to me. And on top of that, I'm actually applying the operation like cropping, and I'm applying the operation like blurring and things like that. And then this is all happening on the CDN URL. And if I want, I can actually now make a save call, again another REST API call, to save that processed image back to Uploadcare server so that I can persist that the processed image over there. Yes, yes, that's right. By the Uploadcare. Yes, this is all provided by the Uploadcare APIs, right? Why file is not deleting? I need to debug, and I'll make sure that I'll debug, and I'll post that into the open source repo. It is even surprising to me, like why it is not deleting. It should delete. It is not deleting. I think it is not. There is some problem probably in the code, so I'll fix that. Can you modify those methods? Maybe Shiva can take that answer, but what I can add is like I didn't understand like what exactly modifying means. You mean that can you override those methods? I'm not so sure, but you can change those methods. For example, you in a single URL, you can tell first you crop, then you filter, then you blur, and maybe then you do something else. So all this chaining that you can do just by separating that fragment with the hyphen slash. So hyphen slash rotate, what rotate, hyphen slash filter, filter name, hyphen slash blah blah blah. You can always chain them. That is the way you can actually do the multiplexing of all these methods together on your image. But overriding this, I'm not so sure. That probably someone from Uploadcare can take up that question.
Yeah, I think I can take that feedback back and then let you know.
Okay. Okay, so this same demo is available I have also made it available in the this one. I will share that link also. So there also you can actually play around with it. Only thing is like it will be uploaded to my server because it is actually that is the way it is done. I'll share both the links. Okay. Any other final questions? I know we're a little bit over time, but if there is anything, I can actually take it up. If not, um, I just want to thank everyone for joining, and make it really pleasing for me to kind of do this the first live session. And I keep sharing knowledge on my YouTube channel and on Twitter. So if you want, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel because I share a lot of stuff about the web development, JavaScript, React, and things like that. And also on the Twitter, I keep sharing a lot of knowledge and bytes over there. So please follow on Twitter or subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think that's what I can tell, before I end. Any last word, Shiva, from your side before we close?
Nothing else. I guess like you can just check out Uploadcare, and you can also join the Discord. And if you're interested, of course, Tapas will also be there, so you can ask for any queries.
Awesome. Thank you. Then I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you, people. Enjoy your weekend. Shiva, just one thing. Can I keep taking some of these questions even I end the broadcast? So how does it work?
Yeah, sure. Like once you end it, like the comments will get over.
I can answer those questions over there.
Oh no, so we'll have to take them on Discord or on Twitter.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So I think one last question that Thayo has asked is like, for the API call, we must do it under the use effect. Yes. That's how the things happen in React. Like making an API call is nothing but a side effect, and all the side effect that you actually take care in the use effect, and that is where you should be performing your API calls. So I have a video for use effect. You can just take a look. I've explained that it's quite deep. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care. Good night, and good night, good day, and have a great weekend. Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.